Welcome back, you hear with Goldberg. Today we'll be talking about the nihilism of the red pill. Yeah, you heard that correctly. It comes as a shock because most of us are used to defenders of the crimson capsule saying the black pill is about nihilism. With that, they probably don't mean the actual philosophy of nihilism, but rather the internet meme. Just give up, there's no point, there's no value to existence. Fatalism, in other words. And that exists among some black pillars, no doubt. But as I explain in this book on the black pill, it's not exclusive to one particular ideology. You could be a blue pill guy who marries a girl and says, we're going to be in love forever just because I believe it. And then after 5 years, she divorces you, takes the kids. You're living in a studio apartment, downcast, and you become nihilistic over that experience. Likewise with the red pill. You can follow the red pill and it can turn you into a highly nihilistic and destructive person. And that's what we're going to discuss. Now, sure, if your idea is, I just want to get some general knowledge so I'm not stomped on in life, I want to learn some fitness, although most of them are not fit, the gurus or the PUAs, okay. But if you really follow it and you start living that red pill and PUA lifestyle, it is extremely destructive. Please don't come on here and say that's not the red pill. I've read their books extensively. I've listened to their content. It's not just those are PUAs, those are red pillars. They're very much overlapped. They're one and the same as far as I'm concerned. And even if they deny it, that's what you actually see if you pay attention. So the essence of the red pill PUA perspective is that women manipulate men, therefore you have to manipulate them, turn the tables, beat them at their own game. Strangely enough, it's almost like as much as the red pillars will say men are the leaders, women are followers, they'll justify all male behavior based upon female behavior. It's a little bit interesting. And with that, I'm not saying you could go, oh, she's a hoe. Okay, I'm not saying marry a hoe. But you don't have to partake in this lifestyle that is degenerate and destructive just because a woman acts like a hoe, right? That's ultimately your decision. And this is where we get to a lot of these guys who essentially are amoral. That's how they go about their life, even though they'll claim to have other values. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. This manipulation or game usually takes one of a few different forms. So a good-looking guy can just say what he wants from a woman. He can be direct. But since most practitioners of game are average or below average, they're instructed to be kind of a sidewinder, beat around the bush. Don't be too much going for the jugular because it could backfire. So this would entail negging, like break down her self-esteem, push, pull, you toss out the line, reel it in, give some slack, make her chase you, and also misrepresent yourself. So if you're not good with women, you have to pretend that you're good with women. If you're not a narcissist, you have to be narcissistic, the dark triad male. Or if you're not an a-hole, pretend to be an a-hole. So it's not exactly about a man just straightforward acting the way he is, but rather essentially, I'm going to fake something. And that in of itself is a little bit questionable. But it leads to a problem because, for instance, one thing you'll hear from a lot of PUAs, it's okay to say, I love you as long as you get laid. Now that's a pretty serious thing. What if this chick actually cares about the guy, thinks he's invested? Well, it doesn't matter because you're getting laid, you're getting an ego boost, you can brag to other people. So when we talk about nihilism, that's where you're taking value out of something. In this case, taking value out of a person. She's not worthy of that basic modicum of respect. She's just there to pump and dump, right? And you say, oh, that's simping for her. No, because again, going back to what we talked about earlier, you don't have to partake in it. If you're not serious, if you know it's not morally correct, you don't have to be party to it. You can just say, I'm not going to get involved. You don't have to marry a hoe or anything of that nature. But they'll try to set it up like, oh, don't hate the player, hate the game. Again, very amoral as an approach to life. I don't have any personal responsibility as an individual for my actions because I'm not going to be judged. It's just about, am I getting pleasure or not? If I'm not, I'm failing. That's the red pill PUA approach. And it can reach more destructive extremes. Like one guy used to comment on my channel and said that he bought a cheap engagement ring, would talk up the girl, propose marriage, have as much premarital sex as possible, then break up, take the ring back, rinse and repeat. And that's kind of acceptable behavior. Well, it's alpha. Well, you are being a liar and a manipulator. You're basically showing that you have no sense of this being wrong, but that's okay as long as you get laid. So again, narcissistic, but also nihilistic. The person doesn't matter. The actions don't matter. I'm just getting laid. I'm going to have satisfaction. Everyone's a means to an end. Of course, it's not just women being affected, because what tends to occur, I know this is a cringy picture, I couldn't find another thing. They'll lecture people on the brotherhood of man, guys standing united against feminism, but oftentimes in PUA circles, you'll have topics like, how do you bang a married woman? How do you take away the girlfriend? And now, maybe the guy in question who is in that relationship is a douchebag, but often it could be a friend, it could be a guy you don't know who could be a good individual. But in order to justify your action, what will you do? You're going to try to conjure up some reason why he's not worthy of a respect. So he's a simp, he's a mangina, he's beta. You don't know this guy, but you're going to tell yourself that in your mind to make it okay for you to go and try to bust up that union. And once more, even if the chick is a hoe and will do it anyway, it's up to that man saying, I have a sense of right and wrong, of honor. But the PUA will tell you to choose the ignominious path so you can say, oh yeah, I'm getting red pilled, I'm an alpha or whatnot. And they say this is positive. They're helping men. How are you helping men by turning them into a narcissistic, nihilistic degenerate? I mean, it's a very open question that these PUAs will run away and then try to oh, that's not true. That's a straw man, because they know it's true. And that's why they have to constantly gaslight. This can, of course, reach more destructive levels. In fact, recently a PUA was credibly accused of secretly videotaping clients and women having sex without the women knowing, and then selling those videos. Now, if that's proven in court, he's looking at considerable jail time, because it's invasion of privacy and, today's day and age, revenge porn, Me Too, not a good combination. But you ask yourself, what would bring someone to think that's okay? Well, it's the red pill PUA mindset. I'm alpha no matter what I do, right? As long as I'm getting laid, I'm getting my pleasure, my fiat to very material pursuits, it's okay. End justifies the means. Everyone's essentially just a pawn or like I said, someone that I can manipulate towards that end. You see it just in the red pill community in general with these gurus. And a lot of guys will say, oh, I can compartmentalize. So I can be a degenerate PUA, but as one guy claimed in my comments, I'm a strong Christian and then I'm also a PUA. No, those are they're not compatible at all. You'll see like these red pill gurus saying, oh, I'm going to teach you how to be, a man. I'm going to teach you to be red pilled. But at the same time, they're manipulating incels into buying expensive courses or doing consulting, when if you were really trying to look out for these guys, you'd say, look, this is what you can find on the internet, maybe a book at best, but all this I'm going to try to turn you into a simp customer, they're using game on their own followers and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to teach you to be red pilled, right? I don't know, maybe the red pills that once you figure out you spent $1,000 and got nothing, you're red pilled now, brah. It's sad, but you see what happens. If you act in one area of your life in this manner, it will bleed into others. It will affect the way you interact with your family or even people you claim to care about, because much as we like to pretend that we can just have these different personalities, I'm sure you'd say, what about Dennis Rader? He was killing people and he was a church deacon. Well, if you want to use that as an example, but, it's not a positive route to take. So ultimately, if you want to do the red pill PUA thing, that's within your jurisdiction. But stop describing it as positive for men. It's one thing to say it's about having some confidence, like how to be confident in general, or how to improve your life in general. But when you're talking about using people as a means to an end and nothing applies as long as you're successful in terms of this being right or wrong, you're not, in the end, these red pillars, these PUAs, they're making people into just sad, degenerate nihilists. And recently, actually, Rushby had an interesting interview. He was saying when he was at the height and he was, traveling the world to get the women, writing the books, he just felt like he was in a dark, meaningless place. you see some of the stuff that was in his PUA books, just kind of really disgusting, inexcusable content. But if you're that type of red pill PUA mindset person, you're going to say, yeah, as long as I'm alpha, I'm getting clicks, I'm making money, it doesn't matter. The whole like maybe a joke about legalizing rape. Again, it's alpha. It's offending people. It's, it means that I'm dominant or whatever. So always remember what you do. It's not just in this one place. Especially if it becomes a pattern, it will affect other areas of your life. So that's a personal decision you have to make when it comes to what type of lifestyle you want to lead.